Hello fellow Star Trek fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of 10 Forward, brought to you as part of the Clonestar podcast. I am your host Mike Overton, and in this week's episode we are checking out the latest episode of Star Trek Discovery. The episode is entitled Erigah. Let's fly. The Discovery meets with the USS Lochner, which has apprehended Mol and Locke. Captain Burnham receives a briefing from Lieutenant Narn, her old ally, who has detained the ex-couriers and possesses Velik's diary, filled with potential crucial secrets. Despite Book's eagerness to assist, he is dismissed as a security risk by Lieutenant Narn because of his betrayal of the Federation. After being transported to sickbay with serious injuries inflicted by Michael in a previous episode, Locke's condition is dire. Dr. Culber believes that an old Breen refrigeration device, which is currently at Starfleet headquarters, might just stabilise him. Upon arrival, Admiral Vance denies them entry as the Breen, having not entered Federation space since the Dominion War, have demanded Mol and Locke. Concerned about the potential exposure of the progenitor technology, Vance urges Discovery to leave, but Burnham insists on confronting the threat directly. President T'Rina, leading in Rillak and Saru's absence, manages a crisis session at Federation headquarters. No contact has been made with the Breen since the burn, and their infamous role in the Dominion War remains fresh in memory. Rayna stirs controversy by suggesting an all-out combat against the Breen, hinting at their ongoing civil strife as a possible motive for their arrival. Burnham seeks insights from Locke, learning he is the royal heir, a fact he desperately rejects. Amidst the escalating tension, Stamets persuades Tilly to stay aboard in aid of deciphering a crucial metallic fragment found in the previous clue. They collaborate with Adira on deciphering the inscription, whilst Commander Reno, who happens to have a background in rare books, among other things, is tasked with finding the next clue, leading them to Nomadic Eternal Gallery and Archive. As the massive Breen Dreadnought arrives, T'Rina gains a temporary reprieve. Unable to find any diplomatic leverage, and with Locke being uncooperative, Michael turns to Commander Rayna, who shares his harrowing past with the Breen. His advice shapes their strategy when Primarch Rune arrives, rejecting peaceful offers and demanding the fugitives. In a strategic twist, Rena deceives Rune, leveraging his need for the Scion to maintain the Breen Civil War's status quo. Locke and Mol attempt an escape, distracting the medical and security teams with a risky drug overdose. As chaos ensues, Book coordinates with Narn to manage Mol's attempt escape, which ends in a poignant reunion back in sickbay. The situation escalates as Rune prepares for war, with Mol revealing her marriage to Locke and her unknown secret technology, setting the stage for further negotiations. Ultimately, T'Rina decides to hand over Mol to the Breen, sparking a critical race to uncover the technology that could resurrect Locke. The episode concludes with the crew preparing for their next mission, hinting at future adventures and deepening alliances. Things I liked in this week's episode. I really loved Jet Reno, Tilly and Paul's scene. It was brilliant. 7 of limes. I loved it. I mean, I hope Star Trek conventions, if you need a cocktail, we know what you need to be supplying. 7 of limes. It's great. I don't know. There's something about how Tig has developed that character and how she is bluntly honest and hilarious at the same time. I love her. I'm really loving the Tilly Adira mentorship. It really does sort of put a spin back on things again. Adira is very much like how Tilly was as an ensign in season 1. And I've said this before, I really love the fact that Tilly has grown to a point where, she is now mentoring essentially people that were just like her a few years earlier. So yeah, lots of really good parts of this week's episode. Parts I didn't like. I didn't want to see Locke die, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought the way he died was a bit meh. Just, ODing on drugs is a bit of a, something to frown upon. So, I don't know. I feel like that whole scene is just a bit meh. Whilst it progresses the episode, it still leaves a lot of unanswered questions, I think. It just wasn't. I just didn't particularly think it was that good, and it's nothing wrong with the acting. I just don't think it was written particularly well. My standout moment, I think, has to be the scene with Michael and Raina. Something about Callum's performance here, it's really deep and engaging, and it gives us this kind of insight into who the Breen are. We very rarely see or hear from them, so this kind of world building that we're getting here as well is really awesome to see. And just the whole way that scene is played out is fantastic, and it's my favorite scene from this episode. Just the depth, the sheer depth that we get from the characters here, and the fact that once again it's like the disco does right. It's not overdone, it's done well. It's referred to a couple of times in a tasteful way. It's not something that's going to be dragged out like we see with other shows. So I think having this really, I'm going to put it, blunt and bold character open up a little bit more, especially after having quite a heated discussion beforehand with the Admiral and the President Tarina. It just shows that he has no filter sometimes, and he just runs his mouth and then realizes, oh shit, what have I done now? What have I put my foot into? Which I think we're all guilty of sometimes. So it's really nice to see the opposite of that in this character, and my favourite part of this episode. This week's episode is really thrilling, maintaining intense suspense, effectively, gripping viewers from start to finish. Despite the multiple elements, the episode skillfully integrates drama, action, character development, world building, and a little bit of humour in a cohesive and engaging package. Echoing the high-stakes tension of notable marital episodes from Star Trek's Dominion War arc in DS9, this episode pays homage whilst propelling the season's central storyline forward. The cast, both regulars and guests, delivered real good standout performances, with notable mentions being Tara Rosling as President Tarina, Eve Harlow as Mole, and of course the wonderful Tig Notaro as Jet Reno. Now, Sonequa Martin Green as Michael Burnham shines as a cohesive force, supported by Anthony Rapp's focused Stamets, as the narrative delves into deeper, complex political dynamics, ethical dilemmas, like a real Star Trek episode should. The episode definitely intertwines various character arcs, from Tilly's mentoring of Adira and Michael's pivotal moment with Raina, revealing his past and vulnerabilities, portrayed compellingly by Callum Keith Rennie. The seamless integration extends to Book's path of redemption, with Rachel and Cheryl's Lieutenant Nhan challenging him, enriching his storyline. Locke's tragic death adds a poignant layer, transforming him from the antagonist to a character the audience empathises with, a feat unique to this season of Discovery. The subplot involving Adira, Tilly and Reno not only injects humour but also sets the stakes for upcoming episodes, blending light-hearted moments with significant narrative developments. The episode really excels in world building, focusing on the Breen, the emerging threat of Primarch Rune, intertwined with the insights into Raina and the Carulians, adding depth to the Breen Civil War subplot. Despite some potential continuity questions regarding Tarina's knowledge of the Breen, the episode effectively portrays the Breen as a formidable and enigmatic force. The humorous yet intriguing backstory snippets like Reno's bartending on Echelon 4 and her creatively named Seven of Limes cocktail adds layers of character depth and a lighter tone amidst the intense plot. However, the episode also poses intriguing questions such as the Breen's traditional lack of blood and Locke's royal lineage, suggesting possible translation or continuity errors. Additionally, the episode indulges fans of DS9 subtle nods with references that enhance the narrative without overwhelming it. The anticipation of upcoming episodes is palpable as the series ties together the ongoing storylines and delve deeper into Star Trek's storied legacy, setting the stage for climactic conclusions in what may be the series' best season yet. Now, that's it for this week's episode. Remember, you can catch up with more Clonestar podcast at our website, clonestarpod.com. We have got some incredible new merch, which is cheaper as well. Remember, until next time, live long and prosper.